Yo la noto, él es como el Lewandowski. High key, baby, nunca low key. Yo tengo el drip, preguntar a mi broski. Tres líneas, tripoloski. Solo anoto, él es como el Lewandowski. High key, baby, nunca low key. Yo tengo el drip, preguntar a mi broski. Tres líneas, tripoloski.
When deciding on what cinema lens set to start building, I had to start with this 43 because I can never really decide if I prefer 35mm, 50mm. So I thought 43, I saw sort of its design and its character, and I thought if I'm going to start a cinema lens set, this was just meant to be, with 43 being my favorite number. And then here we go. I tried the Nissi Athena 40mm, but I found it a little bit boring. Like, it just didn't seem to have like a ton of character or anything that made me want to like grab it and use it. So I sold that and then got this bad boy, and I've been using it for about a month and absolutely loving it. I really liked how Dulens sort of combines the old and the new, and it has that kind of unique character, and I like the design and just everything about it. So I took the plunge, bought the first lens of the set, and obviously had to go with 43. It's very solid and well built. The aperture and focus rings are super smooth, but not too smooth, kind of that in between. And yeah, I really like the build quality, even like the brass ring going around. You can get it in different sort of color schemes, but I really like this kind of black and brass, especially because as you use it more and it gets scratches, the black paint sort of comes off and reveals a kind of brass underneath. So therefore the lens gets its own character over time from using it, which is pretty cool and kind of sums up this lens, to be honest. So over the last month or so, I've used this lens a ton. I've tried to test this lens in every sort of genre or setting, like fitness content, fashion content, bit of everything, even a bit of photography, which I'll get to. But this lens really was able to kind of flow between all the genres quite well without ever looking out of place, but without being boring. And I find for a cinema lens, that's a very useful quality to have because you can use it more, but you also can enjoy using it and enjoy the result. Because obviously I love using anamorphic and I shoot anamorphic as much as possible, but I wanted to find like a cinema lens that was spherical, but sort of still gave me that same kind of feeling and like that wanting to use feeling that I get with anamorphics. Because for any like fashion film where I know there'll be a vertical deliverable, I try not to shoot anamorphic even though I want to, and it is possible, especially with open gate and whatnot, but I find like using this lens in the like S1 Mark II's open gate, I really like it. I find I've actually been leaving a lot of the projects in the 3:2 ratio for final deliverable that isn't like vertical, because I think that kind of squarish aspect ratio really do deliver quite a nice vintage kind of nostalgic image, and I love it. Remember a few years ago on YouTube, the FX3 and the old Helios lens, that was like the combo and everyone was doing it. I had that combo as well. I feel like I sort of found my own version of that with the S1R Mark II and the S1 Mark II and this bad boy. Like, I find the bokeh in the out of focus areas is very similar to the Helios with that kind of swirliness and that unique character. But then I find it has more pros than that lens because overall, you know, it's a bit sharper, it's a bit more usable in different scenarios. So it does remind me of that combination, but almost like a version of that combination that suits me a bit more. It also has a really unique flare, especially when you're at one of the max apertures. Has sort of like a circular rainbow, and you can control how full that circle is by what aperture you're at. So you can either have it like a full circle or more of like a crescent if you stop down. And obviously, like, loving anamorphic and anamorphic flares, when a lens has like a unique flare that, you know, it's like, oh yeah, that's a whatever lens, I think that just adds to the character more and adds to that excitement of wanting to use it more. I really love how this lens renders skin tone, especially when combined with like Lumix's ARRI log. I really enjoyed, in the fashion films, like color grading the footage, because skin tone, like denims, I found, it just gave it a really vintage look without it being like overdone. Now, what surprised me the most, and I've actually never really thought of doing this, is I put this on my S1R Mark II and did some fashion photography with it, because we wanted a more like 35mm film look, but we wanted it on digital. And it just occurred to me after using it on video for a while, I'm like, you know what, like I've never really tried to use like a cinema lens for photography. So I'm like, oh, that could be cool. And I was really surprised and happy with the results. Like it was that perfect imperfection that you sort of love in analog photography. And I tried to color grade my images to have a bit more of like a filmy kind of aesthetic. And it helps that a lot more, both in how it was like its contrast, its sharpness, like the fall off. It was really unique. And I think when I want to do a photo shoot, but I want something a bit different than, you know, like the perfect Lumix lenses, this will now be something that I do more often because I really enjoyed it. And obviously, like shooting manually slowed me down a bit, sort of like gave me more of those qualities I enjoy about shooting film, but on like a digital shoot. I honestly think you could use this lens just about for any project. It's got enough character and feel to add more to like a fashion film or any sort of like narrative, but then it's still clean enough to use in like a commercial, in a fitness kind of setting. So I do like a lens that has a lot of flexibility because then if you enjoy using it, you get to use it more and you get to use it more projects. And yeah, I think I'll definitely be building this set one by one because obviously bought this with my own money and, you know, trying my best out here. But I think, yeah, the dual lens APO mini primes are definitely right up my alley as far as cinema lenses go, and I've really enjoyed using it for the past month or so. If you want a cinema lens with some good like vintage character without sacrificing like quality and sharpness and everything else, I feel like this is the perfect in between. And I obviously haven't tried the other focal lengths, so go the 43. Great number.